So in this little video, we are going to remodel our downstairs bathroom, and we're going to do it as price effective as possible. So it's not a bad bathroom, it's just very mishmash and outdated. And we have our own stamp of things we want to do. Like this is way too cookie cutter and perfectly good, so we'll find a good home who would like that. The tiles we're going to cut down here and take out, replace the plywood, in the drywall. Same thing on this side, and we're going to do beadboard that comes up to the height of this shower bit here with some trim, some PVC crown molding, and new paint. And then we're also going to take up this floor and put down some vinyl waterproof flooring that looks good and matches the whole design. It always or never ceases to amaze me the things you find when you start renovating. I took the freaking medicine cabinet off, and there's this just big giant freaking hole, and the light was wired up here, so I have this temporarily hooked up, centered now of where the window or the mirror is going to go, but it's just screwed into drywall, so I can't put it up all the way. But anyway, this is like the more and more I do to this house, the more I scratch my head going, what the fuck? So this is underneath of the sink. I have no freaking clue if this is something that goes all the way across the bathroom floor. But Jesus. But we'll find out. Pry bar and a hammer. So I took the toilet up, and granted I'm a computer guy that works in the cubicle, but I've never seen any fancy schmancy toilet flange crap like that. So it'll be interesting once I get this up and then the floor up, you know, how I can get this back down there. So interesting. It would appear that there is just a solid 1 inch, inch and a quarter layer thick of grout with a wire mesh, and then some kind of plaster coat or something, I don't know, and then the tile. Yeah, proving to be a lot of fun. At least the tile's coming off fairly easy, so this gets covered up in the beadboard, so get that smooth, and yeah. So this is what is going to go in and be the sink. It's one of the brand is white, but it would open up and then there would be the sewing machine in here, and we're going to put the sink base on top. It's a white one from IKEA, and clean this up a bit, but that is going to be the sink for the bathroom. Ugh. Still so much to do. My shoes are even giving up on me. Why spend all your time and effort with those tools to break all this up when you can use, bam, this bad boy? Wish me luck. It's becoming more and more apparent why it's so freaking difficult, because they grouted and tiled over top of tile and grout, and I was wondering what this white layer was. It was kicking my butt, and I was like, it's got this pattern in it, and sure enough, it's another layer of tile. I'll tell you what, this is satisfying, because this entire piece with all its layers of grout and tile and grout and more tile, now I just got to carry it out. Well, floor is all out. Looks good, except for where you would expect. And I have to figure out, well, I'm gonna cut the plywood out and then replace it after I brace up, you know, the floor joists of where this is going to go so that I can screw it down all the way around. But yeah, I'm not sure if if the water is coming from people taking a shower and it drips down to here, or if it's this, or if it was the funky toilet thing, or all of the above. I know this is crooked or slanted, and yeah. So I've cut out the part of it that was not looking good. We're going to clean this up with bleach. This is actually not soft or anything like that. So we'll put some bleach on it and should be good. Then cut this, put a new flange in here and connect into the plumbing and reinforce. Well, yeah, you'll see. All right, floor is patched, and now I'm going to put a layer of black felt paper down and then another layer of 1/2-inch plywood. It screws down into this so that we'll be nice and snug and tight, plus it'll bring me up closer to being flush with the hardwood floor in the hallway. All right, so a layer of black felt paper, roofing paper, and this is my dad's advice, and he knows what he was talking about. So this is supposed to go in between the 2 layers of plywood, and that will minimize any kind of, I guess, temptation for it to squeak. All right, second layer of plywood is in with about 100 screws. Don't want to take any chances of it moving. And then I use the diamond bit or carbide bit, whatever, to cut the tile. So then now the tile, and it just cut through it like butter. Oh, so awesome. Because we're going to bring beadboard all the way up to here and across. And so this will all get butted up with the beadboard and then caulked, and then there's a trim piece that goes up. But yeah, cut the trim or the tiles over here. So now I'm ready to put the beadboard in on this wall and then the flooring. All right, so I took out some of the drywall so I could put in a light fixture holder thingy, because they just had the light attached to drywall. That's not very stable. I also added in some more studs so that I can screw my drywall patches into and have something all the way around to screw it to. All right, so the first bit of paneling is up. Chose to come all the way up to the ceiling for here because of the light, and the mirror is going to get centered here, and then the sink, so it should kind of frame it off real nice. I said picture, but I meant video.
No video.
The sewing machine base is the sink, and it looks freaking fantastic already. There's Superstar here. All right, the wall paneling is up all the way around, and I've done a layer of caulking around the base, especially heavy here. But there's obviously I'll do another layer of caulk when the floor goes up. But that's what I'm putting in now is the flooring, which is this, and it is waterproof. Rigid core vinyl plank that has the layer on the bottom already attached, so it goes pretty quick, and it's waterproof. All right, the floor is in. Just have to do a bead of caulking around to kind of make sure it's all locked in place, although this is pretty tight and pretty small, but the caulking is mostly to waterproof. And then now I'm going to do my trim work next. I'm using a 1x3 PVC board. It's, you know, obviously waterproof and white and all that kind of good stuff. And our floor is even. Put a little transition piece down, and yes. All right, well, I've got some of the trim in, and I'm just basically doing it like this. It's some kind of PVC trim, and put the light in, and this another piece of trim just because I wanted to see how it looks. But this is going to go all the way around the top as well, and then I was going to paint the what's gray here the same color blue that we have in our dining room. And then the tiles get a white epoxy, not epoxy, a white, like I don't know, a paint for tiles. and then we'll clean up the tub and all that too. And then, I don't know, different shower curtain perhaps, but it's starting to come together. All right, so I convinced Ava to go with the blue, which I think is a good choice. Once these are reglazed and painted white, I think it's gonna look really nice tie in nicely with all the beadboard. But, so now that I've got this up, give it a little bit of time to dry so that I can start adding the rest of the trim that's gonna go around the top. Yeah. All right, new toilet is in. That was fun. And now my sink, or our sink, you can see I've cut a hole in this. So what this was initially was, as you saw, that this would open up and there would be a sewing machine that would pop out. Well, we now have a very cool sink, and that is the sink basin that goes on top of it. So it brings you up to pretty much the perfect height and looks snazzy. Definitely becoming more and more a Pinterest house, I think, is what one of the realtors at our old house described it as. But hey, that's okay. We like it. Now I do have a board that goes here yeah. So the sink is in and working. You know, that little piece right there, I have to attach, because there was a mechanism that when you lifted up the thing, that tucked in with the sewing machine. And I know that there are those of you out there who are saying, Dave, why would you tear apart a perfectly good antique? And that's okay. I hear you and I sympathize with you. And if you want an antique sewing machine, they're almost literally a dime a dozen all over the place, easy to find. And rather than have one sit in some antique store collecting dust, we chose this one because it was very pretty to be a sink. And nobody sews with these things like this anymore. But if you do want to have the very fancy white sewing machine, you can contact me and I'll sell it to you for a low, low price. And then the mirror is just hanging on the light right now, which is not going to work. We're going to lower it down a tad, but we are oh so close. Next will be tomorrow. I'll finish the trim going around, and then we will get the paint for the tiles, change out the hardware, and maybe we'll be done soon. So in order to paint tile, you have to sand it.
Sell your first child.
You have to sand it. What was it? Clean it with TSP?
Yeah, sand it, clean it with TSP.
And
Rub it down with as high alcohol as you have or can find.
Yep. And then you got to do that like twice.
Yeah.
And then we're going to tape all this off and then do the spray. And she has just been busting her butt doing this. And the spray stuff for this is $50 for a pack, but we'll see soon how it works out.
Fingers crossed.
What do you think about this so far? It's working, just very toxic. And of course, the 2 cans that it comes with were not enough, so like most projects of mine, I'm on my way back to the Home Depot and Lowe's to see who has more cans of this stupid tile spray paint. Erg. Alright, well, it looks a lot better, but definitely not got full coverage, as you can see. And there's also a very heavy layer of dust, which I assume is the paint. So we're gonna clean all that up so we don't have that ruin or anything. But I will say that this little area here, 2 cans were not enough. And so at $50 a pop or $65 on Amazon, you know, it's still cheaper than replacing the entire wall, but something to consider. You know, they don't sell individual cans of this stuff. They only sell it in a complete kit. At least that's all I found. But Hallie seems to approve of it though. Come on, black dog and white dust. You doesn't work so well. Out. But it's starting to come together. So we kind of went from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. I will tell you that if you are debating on that product, do not waste your money. Maybe the roll-on stuff is better, but the aerosol sucks. It took 2 cans, it took a total of 4 cans, and as you can see, it still didn't get 100% tile coverage, but I think it looks good enough, but you know, for the vintage look or whatever, but it definitely is not perfect. And basically we spend $100 and a lot of toxic fumes. But so yes, my wife corrected me. It was more than $100 because, you know, I think we spent 120 or 130 on this stuff, and then you had to buy the TSP, you had to buy gloves, you had to buy all kinds of cleaner stuff, but sanding pads. It was a big toxic mess. I think it would have been easier just to buy tiles. Easier and not too much more expensive to just buy a whole new shower and put it in there, really. But one of the art pieces that my wife has made, it hangs here. We still got to touch up the blue on the walls. Got some overspray. We've got some stuff here, and I hung that little mirror. I have to finish putting the cover here, and then finish the outlet. But all in all, it's just about done.